Car Talk is presented by Gates Automotive, Northern Indiana's premier local-owned auto dealer, specializing in Toyota, Chevy, and pre-owned vehicle sales and service. Gates Automotive has locations in South Bend, Mishawaka, Granger, and Elkhart. For more information, visit gatesautomotive.com.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into this episode of Car Talk, presented by Gates Automotive, where we talk about everything car-related, from buying, selling, financing, and servicing. Today's guest is one of the leaders here at the Toyota store in South Bend. She's the internet sales manager. She's a very high achiever, and she sets her goals really high for herself. She always knocks her goals way out of the park, too. She does an awesome job with that. She's a huge positive asset and source of energy here at the Toyota store. And I'd like to introduce you to Miss Sasha Pask. Sasha, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Jordan. That was such a nice introduction.
Oh, no problem. You deserve it. And that and more. Obviously, we'll get into that here in a couple minutes. There's a lot of great things about you, Sasha. You've just done such an awesome job here at the store, growing your department, helping the sales department grow, especially in your role, which we'll get to here in a second. But to start things off, we're going to go through with a 30-second rundown where I throw as many questions to you as possible in 30 seconds, and we'll see how many we get through.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Awesome. Let's set the clock. And 30 seconds. Here we go. What's your full name?
Sasha Pask.
Where were you born?
Elkhart.
Where did you go to high school?
Northridge High School in Middlebury.
How many kids do you have?
6.
What are their ages?
Benjamin's 26. Natalie's 23. Elizabeth is 22. Lillian is 19. Maximilian 18. And Sebastian 14.
Where do they all go to school?
Okay, so I have 2 in college at IUSB, and I have 1 in high school at Plymouth High School, and he's a junior, and then an 8th grader at St. Michael's in Plymouth.
Well, that's great. And what kind of sports are they in?
So my kids played some sports. My girls all did cheerleading, softball, soccer. My son played football. My oldest son was a lifter on the cheerleading squad. They were more active in things like 4-H and just different organizations like that.
Great. Well, look at that. You did it. You got through all the questions. Now, I think my timer's a little messed up, so that might be that might have been a little bit longer, but that's fine. You got through all of them. You did great.
Well, 6 kids,
Yeah, true.
Takes a little time.
True. And there were no missteps as far as what their ages were, where they were going to school, right. So you did great.
Now, if you ask them, I always have to go in order. Which one am I?
Yeah, true. Maybe you just wake up every day and you're like, okay, they're this age today. That's what it is.
That's right.
Cool. Do you want to silence that? Do you know how to?
Oh, I don't know. Let me see here.
Okay. You should be able to pull one of them down.
Oh, there it is.
Ooh, you got it.
Yeah. I just hadn't done it in a while.
So, Sasha, let's get right into it. What's your role here at the Toyota store in South Bend?
So, I am the internet sales manager, and I also help with the Kelley Blue Book purchasing.
Cool. What does that mean? What do you do?
So on a daily basis, I sit in front of a computer and I talk to people.
Hey, don't make it sound so boring.
No, actually, I mean, it's very busy. I mean, I take care of all the leads that come in for people that are shopping online. And we know nowadays that's what most people do. They do shop for vehicles online before they step foot on a car lot.
That's right.
And I just answer questions, make phone calls, send emails, do a lot of texting. It's the way of the times. Many more people will respond through a text than they will pick up the phone or even email. I do appraising the vehicles for purchasing them for the Kelley Blue Book program. So my typical day, come in, go through the fresh traffic of people that were looking online from the time we closed the previous day to that morning, and reach out to those people, follow up with your appointments for people that you have scheduled to come in, and then just continue following up with people that you haven't connected with yet.
Exactly. And it all comes down to putting that customer first, because we've got all these people that are inquiring overnight that want answers on these cars, whether we have it, what the options are. Maybe they're just asking some generic questions, whether it's finance or just overall selection. And we go through and we help them. Well, you do. You help them before they even get here.
Right.
There's people that shop from a long distance sometimes. Like, I was just talking with Greg Wolf the other day on an episode.
Yeah.
And one of their customers recently was actually from California. Now, that's not all that common, but there's a long distance from some of these customers. I would imagine there's a lot of people you work with that are more than 30 minutes away from us.
Absolutely. A large percentage of people. And with the vehicle shortages, we're seeing more and more people shopping out of state. And so, yes, it's a real thing. But if I do my job right and I do it well, then when the customer comes in, there should be no surprises. We've pretty much covered most of the questions that they have, and it should be an easy experience when they come in.
Exactly.
I feel part of my job is setting the next person up for success. So if I do my job well, then the next person that takes them, they should be able to handle it easily.
Exactly. And you're just taking care of the customer. That's what it comes down to. They want to have stuff taken care of. They want it to be more efficient. So you'll take care of that stuff before they even get here.
Yep. And I just try to find a way to relate with each customer because being a mom, being a woman, having driven many different types of vehicles in my life, I usually can try to find something in common with them so that, because it's a process that it can be kind of scary for some people.
It can be very scary.
They don't know the questions to ask necessarily. So just trying to be gentle and, help them and put them at ease and let them know that you're here to help and that, their business is important to us.
And it is.
It is.
It is. And we've been here for a very long time.
Right.
And that's how we've found success, is by helping people and putting them first and showing them that they're not just a number on a page, that they're people, that we're people, and building a connection with them.
Right.
One of the things you brought up already was that you're a woman in the automotive space.
Yes.
And I can imagine that might be kind of hard at times, just because it's such a male-dominated industry for automotive sales. So what is that like?
Well, I like to joke around with them and tell them I'm working with the boys club. So here at the boys club, let's see how this goes, But it is like working with a bunch of big brothers. I think sometimes I have to stomp my foot a little bit to make sure that they understand, hey, listen to me, and, but they generally do. I mean, my managers are pretty good. I think that they've seen that I'm driven for not only success for myself, but for the company and for them. And I want to see them succeed. I do tell the salesman, I go, I want to see every single one of you succeed. And if I'm succeeding, then you're succeeding, And
our customers are succeeding too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it is a lot like working with a lot of men sometimes can be a little annoying. I'll be honest. But you just take it. I mean, I had brothers growing up, so, it's just like having a bunch of big brothers and, but they're good. I mean, they're a great group of people. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here at your store at Toyota in South Bend, what's the culture like? What is it like working with the people you work with?
Oh, well, it can be interesting. Sometimes I want to butt their heads together, but then other times, but I think we're like a family.
Yeah.
I truly do feel like we're a family, and
they look out for you. You look out for them.
Yeah, and that's the thing I would say is that my managers, especially Scott, Brian, Steve, they care about, me and how I'm doing, or if there's anything that I need. I mean, they'll stop. They'll just
shout out to Brian, Scott, and Steve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At different times, they'll all stroll through, throughout the day, at least at some point. And if they don't, I'm like, hey, you did not come say hi to me today.
Where are you hiding? What are you doing?
Exactly. So, and then they'll be like, oh, I'm in trouble. But no, I mean, I think we're a family, and I think we get along great, and everybody, works hard, and I also like the fact that sometimes the sales guys, if they're struggling maybe a little bit, a couple of them will come and ask me, is there anything I can do to help you? I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And so, just goes to show the credit that the managers have for the environment they're trying to.
Yeah, they're leading a great team, and you're a big part of that. They're a big part of that. Mm-hmm. Our sales consultants are a big part of that. They've done a great job at molding this into, just like you said, it's like a family, mm-hmm. where you take care of them, they take care of you, we take care of our customers together.
Correct.
It's just cool to see that.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's also wonderful that when you can be proud of the job that you're doing, the job that you have, and if you see people in public and they say, that's the lady that works at Gates Toyota, you're like, that's right.
Yeah.
That's where I work. So,
or even cutting off part of it, they might say, that's that one lady I was talking about. Like, oh, yeah, that's it.
It was really funny. I had a guy I was working with for a couple of months, and he didn't think I was real. He's like, I don't think you're real. He came in here yesterday or the day before to buy a vehicle, and he's like, I need to meet this Sasha. I need to know she's real. So I was like, it was just kind of funny. We were all chuckling. They were like, he doesn't think you're real because behind the scenes.
Exactly. And in all seriousness, a lot of other dealers, what they'll do is they'll take that digital experience and they'll have outsourced staff take care of that. So it's not even, well, they might be real people sometimes,
right? But
they're not people within the store that are taking care of them like you.
Exactly. And I've even had people say, well, couldn't you just do your job at home? Well, I could, but I can't do it as well as I can do it being here at the store. I mean, where the vehicles are, where you can put your hands on everything, checking service records for customers.
Exactly. Working with your team, working with your managers.
Exactly.
And even meeting the people when they come in.
Yeah, and and a lot of times you feel like you've already built some form of a relationship with the customer.
Yeah.
Before they even show up, so.
Exactly. And a big part of your job is helping that customer before they even get here. Mm-hmm. How do you bring value and how do you add value to that whole experience? If someone inquires about a vehicle, how do you help them and how do you go above and beyond something that we would do that other dealerships don't do?
Well, I would say in my past experience of buying a vehicle, I just remember when I purchased my first vehicle myself, I remember them saying, well, do you like the vehicle? Well, do you like the vehicle? And that's all they just kept saying to me. And here at Gates, I just feel like we listen to the customer. It is our job to help them find a vehicle that they want, not only that it fits their needs and their budget, but, they're happy with, the purchase that they're making and they feel confident in that. We do face some struggles sometimes if someone, maybe is in a rebuilding phase, but part of my job, I feel, is, to just put them at ease, try to help them understand that, we're here to help them. And, and I just think that that's something that we do really, really well as a company, letting people know that, we're here to help because we don't want just their business that time. We want their business in the future, and we want them to bring other people to us.
Exactly. We look at it, and it's not just that one car deal.
Right.
We don't look at the customers that way. Mm-hmm. It's the next one. It's their kids. It's their grandparents. It's their friends. It's everything.
I just sold a vehicle that, we're selling our new inventory sight unseen, pre-production. And we sold a vehicle to one guy, and he sent his cousin my phone number and the guy's like 2 hours away.
Yeah.
And we're working on purchasing another vehicle, for him. And that's his family member just because of the experience he had. And his vehicle's not even arrived yet. So, but, that's just how we like to do things.
Exactly. Let's talk about your managers for a second.
Okay.
So Brian, the used car manager, Scott, the new car manager, and then Steve. Yeah. What's it like working for them?
Oh, Lord. No. They're great guys. They're fun to joke around with.
Yeah.
I think when I first started here, I was green to the car industry. I didn't really know much about it. And I will still say that there's a lot of things I may not know, but I've learned a lot along the way. And I think Brian has been a really good teacher for me. He's really kind of taken me under his wing. And
shout out to Brian.
And he's just helped me. And I think that's what made the difference for me to I really want to try to grow and see what I can do instead of being the person that just came in and did the internet side of, my job. It pushed me to want more and more and more. And, you know,
exactly. And Sasha, that's one thing I love about you is that you're just so driven to not just do really well at what you're doing right now, but to learn more and to find that next step and to see what it takes to get to that step. You're very good at that. And I hope that you see that Brian's poured a lot into you,
right,
so that you can learn those things. Yeah. And that's one of his big strengths is mentoring people, especially ones that are new to the industry.
Yep. And even Scott, you know, he takes a lot of time just to come and sit down and talk to me as a person, you know, as a friend, you know, someone to just, you know, just not even about work, just a lot of times just to check and see how things are going and see, you know, and just to be friendly and, you know, and I think that I started teasing him a couple of years ago that I wanted to make a goal to beat one of our competitors in new car sales. And I've pushed hard for that. And I told him one day over a year ago, I said, we're going to do this. And we did this year.
Yeah, guess what happened, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I mean,
we beat the local competitor by, I think it was 40 units, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean,
before they would dominate, well, not dominate, they were beating us by, I think, 100 or 200 units a year.
Mm-hmm. And it would be funny because every month I'd be like, where are we at, Scott? Where are we at? You know, so,
how cool.
And I think it was exciting for him because he also wanted to, you know,
he wanted to be a part of that,
you know, and
shout out to Scott.
Yeah. But so and I think he saw that I was really driven to try to make sure that happened. And there's just so many little things along the way of different people that have given a little bit of themselves that have helped got me where I'm at. I know I had a moment where, I was feeling like, I don't know, man, can I do this as a woman in this man's industry where, you know, you feel like you have to fight for every little piece, you know?
Yeah, and there's probably doubt and
exactly.
maybe not self-doubt, but just about the idea in general.
Well, yeah, I did have self-doubt from time to time because, you know, we tend to, as humans, think about you know, the things we don't do well, not the things we do well from time to time.
You're right.
And I remember Mike Clark and Marcus Turner, they sat me down.
Shout out to Mike, shout out to Marcus.
Yeah, great leaders. I haven't worked a ton with Mike Clark, but he always very kind, stop by, say hi if he's in our location. Yeah, but I remember one time he told me, he said, people want someone that they can relate to. And that was a huge turning point for me because that's when I had to stop thinking the way I was thinking, and I really took that to heart, and I thought, okay, so I just need to be someone that the customer can relate to and try to, you know, share the knowledge that I have with them. And once I started doing that, I really felt like, you know, things just started changing for me, and I was able to, you know, just embrace, you know, some of my goals that I wanted. And so that's part of why I'm here today.
That's great. Yeah. All because you were able to get through that moment of doubting yourself. And I know that there's probably some specifics that you were able to fix as far as, just like you said, finding relation points with your customers. But even then, it's getting through that roadblock of, man, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I can't do that. Instead of focusing on what you can do and believing in yourself and doing it.
Right.
I hope that that's a big thing to you, but also something you can pass on to your kids.
Absolutely. I talk about this stuff with my kids all the time.
That's great.
I'm really proud that we're very close. My kids and we're all very, very close. They drive me to want to be the best version of myself, but I also hope that, you know, me setting an example for them, you know, to not give up and don't just accept. I mean, I do make very lofty goals for myself, and I have made lofty goals, but I've also really shattered a lot of the goals that I've set for myself here at Gates Toyota, and I'm proud of that. But that didn't always come easy. That came from, you know, pushing forward, keep trying,
lots of hard work.
You help this customer, now let's help the next, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, there are times I'm juggling talking to 8-10 people at one time.
Yeah.
So Brian told me one time, he said, well, I think you're a little more organized than I am. And I'm like, well, but then I look at him. Sometimes I go to the tower to ask him for a question, and there he is working 5 deals at once. And I'm like, well, you're doing it too. So,
yeah.
You know,
he's just doing it a different way.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
But
how cool. So with Toyota, there's been a pretty big shortage of inventory this last year.
Yes.
How have you been able to get through that, and how have you been able to communicate that to customers?
I just think that being honest with the customers, with the reality of the situation is just important. And, I'm fortunate enough that in my position, I can see everything that's coming in or everything
True.
that's out there at any Toyota store. And so just when you can tell the customer, I don't have anything right now, but I have these 7 vehicles being built and these are the dates. They adapt, we adapted with the toilet paper shortage.
Yeah.
We're going to adapt with a car shortage,
That's right.
And then, some people just, decide to look at gently used then. So,
True.
even though it's been challenging, customers are still understanding, they're reasonable. And I've just taken what we do have and we've learned how to really sell vehicles before they've seen them, and get creative, have customers come in and test drive a different that same vehicle, but in a different year, maybe a gently used one, so they can kind of get a feel for it.
Exactly. And then they get in line for the next one when that's available.
Exactly.
And the vehicles we have on the lot right now, so at Toyota, sometimes we'd have between 100 and 150 new on the ground.
Right.
How many did we have this morning? Do you know?
I would say we had, that were available for purchase. I would say maybe 3.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, and 2 of them I know that we're working deals on right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so the inventory is so short already, so we're down 97% on inventory availability, and then the ones that are coming in are already sold. We might have 20, 30, 40, 50 cars sold already that people are in line for.
Yep. I tell people all the time, I say we sell 99% of all of our new inventory pre-production.
Yeah.
And it's truly, and I remember when I was saying we sell 70%, then it was 80%, and then
it just kept going up.
And then I'm like, well, pretty much 99% of everything, if you're going to wait to test drive this brand new vehicle, you might be waiting a year and a half. So,
no, for real.
Yeah, no, for real. So, but it's not just us that, it's across the board. So, and if they really do their research, they'll be like, these people know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
It's true, and I always tell people, if it was just a matter of us buying more vehicles, I said our owners would have done that a long time ago.
That's right.
So, but we, we're doing the best that we can. And I think kudos to our team that if we're
shout out to the team.
if we're selling everything pre-production, that just shows we're doing a good job.
Exactly. And that's how we're able to be the best Toyota dealer or the best local dealer in this area. They've just done a very good job of putting the customer first, communicating with the customers, and finding the right fit for them.
Right.
It's just a combination of a lot of things. And I know that maybe sometimes you feel like you're a small part of that, but you touch a lot of customers that come through this door because you're able to help prepare them ahead of time. And you help set the pace and the tone for what that engagement's going to be like.
Well, thank you. And I do that, but I also think one of the other things that is important is that sometimes people are in a position where, it's not working out quite in their favor at this time. And that doesn't mean that we forget about them.
True.
That means we give them a few months and we give them an idea of what the things they need to do to get around so that they can purchase a vehicle. And then we follow up with them later.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of what I do, is that I don't just, forget about that customer because they didn't buy a vehicle from us today. No, I make sure that I set myself reminders to reach out to them in 3 or 4 months, and see if now is a good time to try again. And then a lot of those customers, they take the advice that we give them of the things they need to do, and then we turn it around and, are able to earn their business.
Exactly. We don't lose track of them, and we help to follow up with them, and we help make sure that we get them back on track. There's a lot of things that you and your team take care of in such a huge positive way. We've talked about this a few times before on other episodes, but it's not like we're just trying to get the sale right now.
Right.
We are literally trying to help people get in a better position for themselves to the point where we can help change their life for a positive way.
Yeah, for me, it's exciting. My oldest son, he lives in Southern Indiana.
Yeah.
and he came home and bought his vehicle here.
Yeah.
And my daughter,
cool.
my second daughter, she works for a dealership as a service advisor. She bought her vehicle here, you know. So all my kids' vehicles have come from here, you know.
That's right.
So a lot of family members, my brother and his wife, they bought their vehicle here. So it's exciting to see, you know, that's obviously, you know, for me, but then you want that for the other customers as well. You want to see them coming back to buy their kids' vehicles, or, you know, bring their cousins and their grandparents. And so.
Yeah, exactly. What are some things that you do in your job that you hope to teach your kids or inspire them to do in their own lives?
Well, setting goals for one.
Yeah.
It's hard to know if you're moving forward if you don't have something to gauge it off of.
That's right. Or what direction are you going?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, and that was something I kind of personally did for myself in the department, is I tried to, you know, I made Clint sit down with me one day. I was like,
shout out to Clint.
Help me figure this out. And he was probably like, okay, you know. And so the first year we did it, and then I'm back at it again next year. I'm like, all right, Clint, we beat these numbers. Let's do it again, you know. But this year was the first year I actually pulled my numbers together for myself. And so I just took it to him.
Good job.
Well, this is what we're doing this next year.
Here's what it looks like.
So, but you know, shout out to him for teaching me how to do it.
Shout out to Clint.
Yeah, so he's a great guy, very approachable guy. But yeah, for my kids, just setting examples, setting goals. Don't just accept no, you know,
True.
And just push forward. And you know, and I'm proud. My kids are all succeeding, doing really, really well.
Yeah, you should be very proud of them.
Yeah, they are the reason I push as hard as I do, because if you ever have days, you know, all humans go through moments of, you know, where you feel a little down or whatever, you know, or feel stressed, because life can be hard, you know, especially when we're living through a pandemic, you know?
Yeah.
But it's okay to feel that at that moment, but you can't stay there.
True.
You gotta, you know, stand up and brush those feelings off and move forward from there and set your next set of goals and keep moving, you know, or readjust. It's okay to readjust too, you know. So, and that's what I've told my kids many a times.
I'm sure your kids are very proud of you.
They are.
I know we've talked about that a few times, just on how influential you are with your kids, and people have probably told you this. I've met your kids multiple times because they come in, they say hi to you, whether they're getting their car serviced or they're in the area having lunch. They're just great kids.
I think so.
Well, let me think that through. I've met all of them except for two.
Okay. Which ones haven't you met?
I don't think I've met Benjamin.
Yeah.
And then it'd be your youngest.
Yeah, Sebastian.
So,
yeah, Benjamin, well, he lives 5 hours away, so
that's reasonable, right?
More difficult. Yeah.
A little bit harder to see him on lunch, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the girls stop by quite often, and you know, Maximilian, now that he's driving, he thinks he needs to come up and see me from time to time. Or they just want me to buy them lunch.
Oh, true. See Mom, go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, they know the apps on my phone, so let's just go in there. And I think Lily just did that on Monday. So.
Yeah, that's funny. What activities are your kids involved in?
Well, right now, activities-wise, I mean, they all work. Yeah. Benjamin has my granddaughter, Luna, so she's almost 3. Yeah, so he stays busy with that. But Liz is in her 4th year of her undergrad. She's going to be going to school to be a pharmacist.
That's cool.
She stays busy with college. Lily, too. She's a freshman, so she's a biology major. Now, Maximilian, he does aviation, so he does half-day high school, half-day aviation. So we're working on scheduling more flight hours for him so he can get his pilot's license by the time he graduates. And then my youngest, he just does computer stuff. I don't know. He's just into learning things on the computer. We're trying to figure out what he's going to end up wanting to do with his life one day. His siblings are like, what are you going to do with your life?
He's got time right now.
Yeah, he's got time. So
I know you mentioned this a few times with Sebastian. There are certain things that he says that you're just like, where did you learn that fact from?
yeah.
Whether it's historic stuff or specific scientific stuff,
Yeah.
he just knows a lot of things, it seems like.
Yeah, he watches a lot of documentaries.
Yeah.
He can random knowledge. So it's kind of funny. But
That's cool. How do you help set your kids up for success in life?
that's a good question.
You've done a good job at it.
Well,
What's the secret?
I think just finding things like every child, not everybody can be a basketball star or a football star.
True.
That sports aren't the only thing that are going to make people successful. And I think just kids will eventually show you the things that are important to them. And I think it's interesting having 6 different kids, my ex-husband and I, we share custody of the 6. And I will say that they're all very different, but figuring out the things that they enjoy and teaching them to find something that they enjoy. I enjoy what I do for a living. I truly do. And just helping them find what they enjoy so that they can feel excited to go to work every day, or, what's going to help them live their best life.
That's great, Sasha. I love all that stuff. That's just great to hear that. It's even better to know that you're already playing that out in your life with your kids. And it's very clear because your kids, I don't know your kids very well. I admit that. But I've seen very small glimpses of them. They're just great kids.
Well, thank you.
No problem. You should be very proud of them. I know they're proud of you.
I am very proud of them. They make me, they give me the drive to every day to be the best version of myself. Not even
That's great.
for me, but just moving forward with my grandkids. Like Natalie, she's dating a guy that has 3 kids. Well, they're engaged, and those are my grandbabies. And just setting those examples for my kids, but my grandkids, and showing them that just keep trying to be the best person that you can be. And I think Gates does a really good job at just being a positive company, and that helps me feel at ease with where I'm at in my life right now, just because I want to be more positive. That's actually one of my resolutions this year is to try to be more positive. And even when you're trying to be positive, there's always things you can work on. And so I think, Gates is always striving for that, and I'm striving for that as a woman and as a mom, and and hopefully
that's great.
My family sees that.
Yeah, exactly. And they do.
Yeah.
And you made the parallel perfect, is that Gates is doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. There's a reason they've been around multiple generations, is that they know what to do to be the best versions of themselves, not only for themselves or their family, but for their employees, for the community. It's just really cool to see. It's really rewarding to see.
Right.
And then we can take that to our own lives and say, hey, here's how to be the best versions of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And you do a good job at that every day. You come in and say, what are the goals I have today that I need to complete?
Right. Yep. And then if you feel like you're behind, you just get your butt in gear and move.
Yeah. Just get going.
Get going. Just keep trying every day. And that's really what it's about, is just being the best version of yourself every day.
Yeah. What brought you to Gates? How did you start at Gates?
So, honestly, I was working for a supermarket, but I was also having to clean on the side to make ends meet, being a single mom. And I just started looking on Indeed, and I knew I've always been told that I would be good at sales.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, okay, other people see this quality in me. Maybe I should try something. And so on Indeed, I saw Gates Toyota was looking for an internet position. And so I applied, and I got an interview, and here we go. So I wanted something a little different. I mean, doing the grocery industry, a lot of heavy lifting. I was getting a little older.
Yeah.
Like, I need a little something a little more gentle on my body.
It's all heavy lifting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was a assistant produce manager for Martin's, and
wow.
Oh my goodness, I tell you, the amount of things that I had to lift and just feeling sore all the time. I was like, I need a change of pace here. And
I'm sure.
So, and this has been a great change of pace. It's been great for me, and for my family. I went from working 3 jobs down to 1 job. So
Yeah,
it's awesome.
exactly. Now, you going into this industry, did you have any second thoughts about it at first? Like when you were questioning that, any doubts you had about being in a male-dominated space within automotive sales?
Just the fact that maybe I wouldn't know what I was talking about. But the one thing in life that I've always learned is that there's oftentimes I don't know the answer.
True.
But you can find it.
Yeah, you're right.
And, I'll never remember who told me, no question's a dumb question. But that's I've thought that so many times in my life, no question's a dumb question. And I've taught my kids the same thing. And even customers will be, sometimes be shy about asking a question. I'm like,
True.
You ask me everything, and if I don't know the answer, I'll find someone that does, So I wasn't concerned so much. Maybe a little nervous for sure,
Yeah.
but men are pretty easy to work with. They're just like, I've raised boys, so
Yeah.
you just do your job and everything will be okay. And then you got to be willing to thick skin. You have to have some thick skin to
True.
work with guys,
That's right.
And one thing I would say women should realize is that if you do work in an area where it's predominantly a male environment, just remember that they have their little cliques and their groups, and they're gonna have their boy time. You may not always be invited to go have drinks with them or something like that, but that doesn't mean you're any less part of who they, part of the team or anything.
Exactly.
You don't have to be their BFF, but
Yeah.
so because there is a little bit of difference when you're a woman versus a guy and they're hanging out. I like to think that most of these guys are married, and I'd like to think and I know have met most of their wives and stuff, and like to think that they know that I got their back and I'm there to help them.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. You're there to help them succeed because you know that you're part of their team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then they have my back too. So,
yeah, exactly.
When it's snowing out and I have to beg somebody to pull my truck up so I don't have to go out in the snow. So I've even had a couple of them come up, give me your keys, I'll go pull your truck up.
They know it's time. Yeah. How funny.
So,
what kind of advice would you give someone, whether they're a male or a female, that's transitioning into automotive sales, and maybe they do have the self-doubt or they're questioning if it's the right thing?
That's a good question. Well, I would say you have to be willing to learn, for one, and then just listen. Learn to listen, observe, and ask the questions. And if you come into this and you feel uncomfortable, I remember one time I was talking to Clint, and I was talking to him about exercise, and because I've been working out and trying to get healthier, and how sore I was one time, and Clint said, soreness is like weakness leaving the body.
That's true.
So it's kind of like the same thing, like in whatever job you may take, know, doubt or, anything. That's just weakness that's easy to overcome by just coming in and doing your work.
Exactly. And so many times when you're new to something, you find out really quick things you don't know. So that's up to you to find out things you don't know and learn them. So the next time that situation comes around, then you know the answer and you know what to do.
Exactly. And and that's just everyday life in anything. And that's how successful people have become successful.
Yeah.
They have from time to time brought speakers in for us to listen to here at Gates as just like a motivational thing for us. And those are just so important. And it's just such a great opportunity for us to give us the tools we need, that if we want to succeed, we can. They're here. They're going to help us. But, it doesn't come to you on a platter. You have to work for it.
Exactly.
And the harder you work, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're willing to put in the work to make something happen, then it pays off big time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Let's transition over to car buying.
Okay.
People that are purchasing cars right now, or they're shopping for cars, what kind of advice would you have for them?
Well, I mean, once you know your budget, that helps.
True, yeah. Start with that. Start with the budget.
Knowing what you want to spend, and then just, figuring out, what needs you need, whether you need a sedan or you need, an SUV or a minivan. Once you know kind of what you need and what you want your budget to be, then that's pretty easy. Once you have that, that's the main thing you need. Then we can help gear you in the rest of the direction as to what options there are. I always look at it like this, people have to realize that we are a Toyota store, but we sell used vehicles too.
True.
And how many different vehicles are you going to own in your lifetime?
Yeah.
So you can't know everything about every vehicle. It's just, unless you're a car person, most people don't know every make and model that's out there.
Yeah.
So those are the things that come with an open mind. Let us do our job. We're the professionals here. We've been, trained to help you. So come with an open mind. Let us show you different options, because there's a lot of times there's options out there that you didn't even know about.
True.
So
exactly. And there's a lot of selection out there that maybe they didn't realize was available. And especially right now, our sales staff, they will know stuff that's coming in before it even gets here.
Right.
So for Toyota, for example, we will sort of know what we're going to get in the next 3 to 4 months. And for sure, we'll know what we're getting in the next 60 to 90 days. Mm-hmm. And if they do reach out to us, we can at least let them in on what we know and on what could be available, especially given the numbers for what is pre-sold versus what is going to be available.
Right. I always tell people, a lot of people want to do things online, and that's great. But sometimes there's a lot to be said for just coming in, sitting down, going over the different options, sitting in a couple of different vehicles and helping narrow down exactly what make or model is going to be best for you. Once we have the make and model figured out and the budget, then it's easy going. And, and it's even that way. If we can get a used car for a customer, we will. If we don't have something that they're looking for, we'll try to find it. If it's out there and we can find it, we'll get it for them.
Exactly. So, Sasha, we talked about a lot of things, whether it's advice for car buyers, some things you do for your kids to teach them what it's like to work hard. What's your passion in life?
Well, my passion is my kids, obviously. My kids, my grandbabies, seeing them succeed. They truly are just everything that I've ever wanted, needed, and just seeing that I'm being a good person. So those are things that are super important to me. I don't have like major hobbies or anything like that. I like crafting, but who has time for that anymore? So, but I would just say seeing my children happy and succeeding, doing well.
How cool. It's just cool that you're able to take things that you know how to do well and teach your kids to do the same thing as far as setting goals, moving in the right direction, and helping them do the exact same thing so that they're well-rounded and like they're, like I said before, they're great kids.
Right. Well, I always think it's funny that when my kids, sometimes they'll call me and they'll be like, man, these people I work with, they just don't know how to work, Mom. Or I'll remember when they would get their first jobs and they'd be asked to sweep or mop, and they would be like, do you know how to use the mop? And they'd be like, how to use the mop? Yeah. My mom taught me how to use a mop a long time ago. And they're like, I can't believe kids don't know how to sweep
for
or
real.
mop.
Yeah.
or just do, just go to work. So, but that's good because you need good humans out there doing good things.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think it's so important to set ambitious goals? And why do you think it's so hard to work towards those goals?
Well, when I was young, growing up, some of the people that were influences in my life were not maybe necessarily thriving. And I was adopted when I was 13. And so it was a completely different environment than from my early childhood.
Yeah.
And so I think that in my early childhood, and after I was adopted, trying to just figure life out, I had to figure out what kind of person I wanted to be. Okay. And so I learned a lot just by watching other people. And so for me, I have gone through life by setting goals for myself, and just achieving them by learning and, doing the best that I can moving forward. Wait, what was the question again, though?
That was it. You did it.
But I felt like I didn't answer the full thing. But no, so just, and I think I just learned to learn from other people.
Yeah.
So.
And to be able to learn from other people's mistakes is a big thing. So you don't have to make the mistakes on your own.
Right. So.
Well, what do you think at the end of the day? How do you measure your success, whether it's at work, whether it's at home? How do you know that day was a good day and you're moving in the right direction?
Well, I didn't die, so. No.
Goal one, don't die.
Right. Well, no, I mean, just every day you evaluate yourself and you say, well, I could have done this better or that better.
Yeah, true.
But then, the successes of, did I help someone today? Was I kind today? Was I helpful today? Did I take a moment to stop and let somebody know that I appreciated them? Did I take a moment to build somebody up? Those are the things that you use to measure your success and to make sure that you're doing well moving forward.
That's great. Sasha, what is it that inspires you to succeed? What is it when things are not going well that you look to? And I think I already know the answer.
Well, obviously my kids.
Yeah.
Well, them, but then I just have you ever encountered people in your life that made you feel like, you couldn't amount to something, or you're not gonna succeed as well, or
and
do as well as someone
them
else.
Wrong.
Yeah, so maybe I haven't always been good in different aspects of things in life, but guess what? There's a lot of things that I do have that I do well, and
that's very true.
Talking to people, trying to help people, that is a big thing for me. I mean, I genuinely try to care about people, and make sure that I'm being a good person to them.
I love that, Sasha. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Obviously, you're a huge asset to Gates. You're a huge asset to Toyota, and you're a huge asset to your team because you're just very nice to people. You're positive. You're well-rounded, and any goal you set, you always knock out of the park.
Thank you. I know
I'm
if
glad
I'm
to
not
know you.
Smiling, I know I can't talk. Steve, he always comes up and he's like, "What's wrong? You didn't smile today." And I'm like, "Oh Lord."
I guess I got to smile.
So that was kind of funny, but well, thank you. Those are kind of things, and
of course, and thank you for just being so positive and such a great asset to this team.
Well, you are welcome, and I'm just grateful to be a part of the team. So, and I feel like I am an important part of the team. My team makes me feel that way.
And that's a good thing that they make you feel that way.
Yeah.
Because you deserve that.
Thank you.
I'm excited for where the future is going, not only for Gates, but also for your team and for Sasha. So, Sasha, what do you think the future holds for you?
Well, I think if I keep pushing forward and, proving that I'm willing to learn and be approachable and teachable, that I think that, maybe finance, or honestly, I would love to be the first female sales manager for the company.
Break that glass ceiling, right?
Yeah. And I think I could do it too. I mean, I really think,
I
maybe
think
not
you can.
yet, but it's something that I can be taught. And so that's kind of what I'm shooting for.
Yeah. Well, you're so coachable and you're willing to learn, especially in areas that you might be weak or areas that you need improvement on. So no matter what, I know whatever you set your mind to, you can do. You've proved that so far. So if you want to set your mind to being a sales manager, then I know you can do that.
Yeah. I think I can too.
And I hope you see that.
I do. And I think, like I said, just having those different conversations with different people about, looking at things a little bit different, those are the moments that have gotten me to reevaluate where I was and where I'm going. And, I remember the day that I thought, I want to be an internet sales manager.
Yeah.
And then I did it.
Yeah.
And I remember the day that I thought, man, I remember telling Joel one time, I passed him in the stairwell going up and down, and I said, one of these days I want to help buy cars, Yeah.
And now you do.
And there's been moments where he said, I think you bought more than I did this month.
Yeah.
So
how funny.
But because I just wanted to know it all.
Yeah.
I just want to know it all.
Exactly.
So,
well, Sasha, I know that as long as you keep doing exactly what you've done so far, you're going to do that because you are coachable and you're willing to learn, and you're just such a positive influence in everything you do. So just keep on doing what you're doing. And you will go far.
well, thank you. Thank you.
Cool. Well, Sasha, I think we're going to bring this episode to a close. Is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to that's helped you get to where you're at today?
Yeah, I definitely want to just thank Brian Winston for
shout out to
just
Brian
being
Winston,
a great leader and a great teacher. Scott and Clint both.
Shout out to Scott. Shout out to Clint.
Yeah, and Steve.
Shout out to Steve.
They have all been just huge influence on my success. And I would even say Marcus Turner. He is
shout out to Marcus Turner.
Yeah, he's had my back. Jeff Miller.
Shout out to Jeff.
Yeah, they are. Marcus has moved on to finance, but they were my go-to people that have helped answer a lot of questions, and sometimes, made me feel a little silly along the way just because they had to give me a little bit of hassle for not knowing certain things, like learning the difference between a wheel and a hubcap.
Yeah.
But
they got to give you a hard time.
Yeah,
right?
they do.
That's how you know that they like you.
Exactly. So, they've been just great people to work with and work for.
That's great. Well, Sasha, thank you for coming on today's episode and being a big part of this. Thank you for being a positive influence here at the Toyota store in South Bend. And just thanks for being a good friend too, Sasha.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jordan. And I wanted to say a shout out to you too. I wasn't sure if we could do that.
We're going to cut that part out.
You've helped me a lot as well. But thank you.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Sasha, I'd like to have you on again sometime. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's see where I go next.
Thank you that's right. Thanks for doing this.
You're welcome.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in for this episode of Car Talk, where we talk about everything car related from buying, selling, to financing and servicing. Huge thank you to Sasha at the Toyota store in South Bend for coming on today and making this episode happen. And thank you to all of our viewers for listening to this. Thanks, and we'll see you again next time.